Hi everyone, welcome to our Marine Knowledge channel. This is your Sailor Basha. So another maintenance video regarding to centrifugal pump. So what are all the things that we need to keep it in mind when we are overhauling a centrifugal pump? So I would like to show it as a video so that it may be helpful to you guys when you are carrying out overhaul or any maintenance work for a centrifugal pump on board ship. Okay, we'll go into the video. This is the pump that we are going to overhaul. This is a pump casing which we had removed from the pump cover. So all we need to do is we have to dismantle the pump. For that you have to dismantle the bearing casing, pump shaft and the impeller out. So all the bigger pump is you will be having a very less components to handle. So first we will unscrew the bearing casing screws, and then parallelly we will remove the nut of impeller. That is what we are going to do now. We are just opening the nut, locking nut of impeller. So be always very careful when you are opening it, because all these threads of the nut is very sensitive and very fine thread. So take enough precaution to not to damage the threads. So now the nut for the impeller is out. So in the other side we are removing the screw of bearing housing. So basically in this bigger kind of pump, the components will be very less, and you should just be careful about the sensitive parts like mechanical seals and threads, keys, all those things, because if you damage the thread it will be very hard to put back the nut and you have to do a lot of filing work. And if the mechanical seal is already damaged, not issue, but if it's a good one, so be very careful while handling the mechanical seals. So this bearing housing has inner screw and outer screw, so remove both. The reason why we are dismantling is the pump is leaking, and also the shaft bearing is very tight, so it got little overheated while running, and there are chances for the bearing must have got seized. So that is the two main reasons that we are removing it. So after removing the impeller lock nut, then what we need to do is it is better to take a measurement between the end of impeller and end of the shaft. So you will have a rough idea of earlier reading before dismantling. So this is what we are doing now. Take a measurement, end of thread and beginning of thread, both the measurement you just take and keep it for your reference purpose. So beginning of thread to shaft end will be always same. So now we are removing the impeller is out. So just be careful with when handling the impeller, because these are very heavy parts, so that if it drop in hand and all, it may cause injury. So you can see the bearing the mechanical seal is almost wear down, so all the carbon materials are there inside the patch. So next, this pump as I said, the components will be very less, but since this pump got seized, we are facing some problem in removing it. You can see the mechanical seal is still intact, so there is one more nut which is holding the mechanical seal. So we are spraying WD-40 to ease up the thing. So still we couldn't able to take out the nut. So in the meantime we are opening the top screw of the bearing housing. So since it is not coming, what we plan to do is we want to do a normal routine, like just take the entire casing up, hang it, and keep a wooden plank down and just hit it, so that if any stuck happen it may come out. We are still trying to ease up to take it out in a good way, but it is not happening. So as I said, we are just using the wooden plank to get it down. So it works. As I said, this is not a normal procedure, but since the bearing got seized, we are using this way to remove it. Now we are removing the bearing casing from the shaft. So bearing casing is also totally seized. So now we are removing that also. Okay, now for removing the bearing, what are all the things that we need to do? First, take out the seal. This is the grease seal, you call it as. After the grease seal, there will be a snap ring which is holding the what do you call bearing. But in this case, if I see that drawing, it doesn't it have a bearing cover on top of it. So just clean it, because since the bearing cover is totally seized, it is very hard to take it out. So next we are trying to remove the bearing cover up. So use a small sharp spanner screwdriver, sorry, not a spanner, screwdriver, minus screwdriver, so that we can try to pull it up. Okay, it came out. So next is the o-ring. So all these things you have to keep it safely, and also you have to keep it in mind that you have to box back in the same way. So it is always better to have a drawing in hand while assembling the pump. And the common mistake what people used to do is, when dismantling, they will take it out fast, and finally they end up in confusion while putting back assembly. So then comes the snap ring. So open the snap ring. We are facing some difficulty again in opening the snap ring. So next we are trying to remove it using a nose plier and remove the snap ring. And again, while taking the snap ring, be very careful, it should not fly away. So the same thing, bearing housing is also jammed. Keep a wooden pallet down and remove the bearing housing from the shaft. So you should not hit directly the shaft over the steel, because it tends to bend for some extent, and it will be another problem. So we start cleaning the bearing housing, and the shaft is good. So all what you need to check in the shaft is, now we are removing the old bearing. The bearing is coming out. Yeah, you can see the bearing, the condition of bearing is very bad. The basically lack of lubrication is a reason for the bearing getting so much damaged. And what are the things that we need to be very careful is, the shaft, just keep it in the lathe and just check for the trueness, whether it is not bent, all those things, and check for any damage in the bearing housing. Bearing housing, usually if there is any damage, then you have to file it with a fine emery paper or something. So now we are doing the cleaning of shaft and just checking the trueness. If you keep in the lathe and see, you can easily find whether the shaft is bent or it is clear. Okay, so just use a very soft emery, and you can clean the shaft properly, so that if there is any like abnormal rust or something, it will be cleaned, so the shaft will become very softer and no sharp edges will be found. So you can see now the shaft is very good, and if you find any cavitation like things, you can just remove it easily with the help of a emery paper, like any blurs, like all those things. So now next is you have to fit the bearing in the bearing housing. So use a hot gun, just heat up the housing end, ensure you are keeping the housing over any wooden block, and now we are just heating up the housing. So after heating up the housing, just make sure you are using a hot gun and also a thermal gun to check the temperature of the housing. So if it is more than 90 and 95 to 100, it will be easy. So now I kept the bearing on top of it, just keep a wooden plank, just a small hit, little hit, it will go down. You can see we are just tapping it, and the bearing went inside very easily. And now okay, you can see the rotation, and if you find any wooden pulp on top of it, just remove it. And next, this is the bearing sleeve. So as I said earlier, always have the drawing in hand. Next is the bearing seal that we need to put inside. So again, for fixing the sleeve, use the hot torch, means hot gun. Try to avoid using what you call gas torch and all, because sometime it will get overheated and it will collapse the nomenclature of the material. So we are cross checking the drawing. As I said, always when boxing up, please keep the drawing of the material and do it. So the sleeve is already kept, and now the bearing housing was being fitted in the shaft. So two things are done. One is shaft is cleaned, shaft trueness is checked, then bearing housing was cleaned, everything was checked, and bearing sleeve was inserted. So next thing is you have to fix the o-ring in place. So o-ring, we are always that keep a trace of what do you call grease over top of the o-ring. And after that, you fix the snap ring. After the snap ring, fix the cover. You are just fitting it back and see whether it's okay or not. Okay, now fix the already fixed the snap ring in place. Snap ring sleeve, that video was not shown, I missed out, but just keep it in mind. We already fit the snap ring in place, and now give a coat of what do you call grease over the bearing. And regular bearing greasing should be carried out for all the pump, at least once in 2 months it should be done. Next is the bearing cover. Bearing cover, it is in place. We try to put a new one, but it is not fixing, so we fit back the new bearing cover. So okay, we are done with that. And next we will go for the seal, what do you call it, as bearing seal. And the seal surface should face down, the lip should be down between the cover. So you call it as seal for grease, call it as grease seal. Just check the drawing and reconfirm. There is nothing wrong in checking the drawing and doing the job. Drawing is always given for us to take a reference when we are going to carry out any kind of job. So bearing sleeve is grease seal is fitted. Okay, the seal tends to turn, but make sure you are fixing it in the correct position. That is the main thing that you need to keep it in mind. Okay, so now the grease seal is in place. Okay, so one part is we are done, shafting done, bearing housing area is done. So next what we need to do is we have to fix the impeller and fit the mechanical seal. That is the next job that we need to do. Be very careful, it is very heavy as I said, so be very careful that you should not hit the thread. Those, okay, the impeller is down. So the impeller is down. Then next thing is you have to fix the o-ring. O-ring you can fix it in the end also, but not a problem, you can do it anytime you want. Anyway, you have to fix it. So here in this pump it's a bigger o-ring. As usual, give a coat of grease and then fix the o-ring. Bottom o-ring is done and you have to fix the top o-ring. So you have two o-ring for this pump. One is the bottom, the other is for the top. Okay, so next thing is fitting the mechanical seals, and in the meantime you fit the bearing casing along with the pump casing so that it get fitted. Both are get fitted. Tighten it properly. Both smaller one and bigger one do not mix because sometimes the bigger one goes to the smaller and smaller goes to the big, and it will cause a confusion like why it is not tightening completely. So all the threads, all the screws should be having a coat of moly coat or grease, whichever is possible, because it is handling only low temperature seawater. So you can apply a coat of grease, not an issue. So tighten it, tighten the bearing housing along with pump casing. So after tightening it, next thing is we have to install the bearing, we have to install the mechanical seal. Okay, so tightening of this is happening now. So always mechanical seal you have to take out from the box only when you are ready to fix the component. You don't open it and keep before the job gets starts, because what happens is by mistake either someone drop down or you will damage the face of the mechanical seal, and the entire idea of fitting a new mechanical seal will be a failure. So that is why I say whenever you want to, at the place only when you are ready to install mechanical seal, then open it. If not, don't open it. So now we had fitted all the screws for pump casing along with the bearing housing. Okay, so okay, hang it in the, it will be easy to hold it in the chain block, so that for us it will be easy to tighten the pump. So next, okay, the pump is kept between the two wooden block. Now the area of mechanical seal should be cleaned properly. No impurities, no foreign materials should be there before installing the mechanical seal. So okay, as I said, before we install only we have to open it. That is what we are going to do now. This is a mechanical seal. You have to be very careful when handling it. This is the rotary part and this is the stationary seal. Two parts will be in the mechanical seal. Be very careful when you are opening, because sometimes this material is very sensitive. If you little bit handle it harder, it may get damaged or broke. So okay, this is the first. You have to install the stationary part in the seal housing. This is the stationary part, so always ensure you have to fit it correctly. This is the matching, so the rubber part should be facing towards the shaft. You should not put it upside down. The most common mistake that people do is fitting the stationary part upside down, so that even if you fit also, the leakage won't be arrested. The pump will continue leaking. Just give a coat of grease so that it goes between the casing easily. Yeah, so it is perfectly inside. Okay, yeah, that's all. Again, clean the top surface. It will be mostly porcelain, very sensitive material. Even a small mud also can give a scratch over the material. So next is the rotary part. Again the same thing. I'm just giving a coat of grease just to ensure to avoid direct friction. So now it is fixed on top of it. Okay, going down, just a little press you need, because mostly this kind of seal will be a little bit tight in the beginning, so be patient. Do not use any hard material to push it down. Try to push it with the help of your hand only. Next, come back, you put back the lock nut for the seal. Before that, fix the key for the seal. So while dismantling, you must have not seen this, because as I said, the bearing gets seized, so we just hit it down and then we removed it. So the key is in place. Just give a mild tap to ensure it is inside. And next comes the very new lock for the bearing. This is, you call it as a distance ring actually. And okay, exactly, it went down. Okay, it is down now. And next you fix the impeller. So make sure your impeller shaft housing is free of any rust, cavitation and thing, so that it should not it should not give any damages. Okay, so that's it. We are almost done. Just give a coat of grease on the mating surface so that it goes inside properly, and in the layer between the shaft give a coat, and very slowly make sure the key is on the keyway of the pump. It should enter the keyway properly. Slowly, very slowly insert the pump, and you can see now the pump is in place. So almost we are done. Just give a coat of grease over the thread surface, and after this you can put the lock nut. And one more thing, before fitting the impeller, just take the clearance of the bearing clearance, you call it as. For that, how you need to take is, you just need to measure the impeller outside diameter and you have to check, take a measurement in the scale, take a quick measurement and note it down. This will be your outside diameter of the impeller, and then in the pump cover you will find the wearing it is placed, and take a ID of the inner dia of the wearing, so that the difference between the two ring, you can see the wearing is already there. You can see the highlighted part is the wearing. There is no much wear in it, there is very less wear only, so wearing is in a good condition. So just take an inner dia of the wearing and outer dia of the impeller. So the difference between these two is called the wearing clearances, and also you have to check the clearance between the shaft clearance, shaft and the sleeve, because when the shaft and sleeve clearance is more, you will find quite a lot of vibration, so which will affect the performance of the pump, and bearing getting very much damaged easily, and efficiency will be dropped. So take proper ID inner caliper, and little bit stuck, yeah, inner caliper. Take the inner dia of the cover sleeve and the shaft dia. So if you take the difference between the two, and that is what you call the shaft and sleeve clearance. So these two clearance are very much important. That means if the wearing clearance is more, you have to change a new wearing, and if the sleeve and shaft clearance is more, you have to change the sleeve. That is the idea that we need to keep it in mind. I believe after watching this video you must have got some idea about how to overhaul a centrifugal pump, and what are all the things that you need to check while overhauling a centrifugal pump, and how to fix a mechanical seal, how to fix a bearing, how to check the trueness of shaft and everything. So that's all. It's a little bit bigger video, but I was thinking of showing this because most of the time people get confused when opening a bigger pump due to the size natures. Anyway, thank you all, thanks for watching, and the final tightening of our pump is going on. Impeller is in place, and just tighten it, and before that just make sure your measurement is correct, that the part I didn't take a pic. That's all. Thank you all, thank you guys. So after watching this video, I believe you must have got some information about how to dismantle a centrifugal pump, and how to take clearances, what are all the steps that you need to do on this part. You must have got some ideas. So as I say, always follow maker's manual, so that it will give an idea about how to do those jobs, because sometimes some maker must have made small changes which we are not aware about. So if you see the manual, you can easily make it out. Thanks for watching. If you have any doubt, you can just WhatsApp me or put in comment box. I will definitely reply you. Thank you all.